Yeah, man. Hold on there. Want to do a cappella tonight. I'm going to tell you something. Nathan, explosion. When I know when Capleton come, I always a teach up. Too much folly are going on right now. I will not love it. People don't intend to see injustice and inequality, manipulation, death without dignity, exploitation, racialism, colonialism, cannibalisticism, vampireism. I'm going to tell you this. Listen to that one now. Them say them rough, but them not rough like we. And say them tough, but them not tough like we. And them have enough, now have enough like we. And who a fool them, remember some school them now and them. Say them bad, but them not bad like we. And say them bad, but them not bad like we. And say them bad, but them not have like we. And who a fool them, me now have to ridicule them now and them. So no boy can't go round the thing. And no boy can't go round the king. I listen, I see I surround the thing. Triple crown, we will use and crown the king. Wow! And no boy can't denounce the king. And no boy can't pronounce the king. All over the world, them have to announce the king. This is signal, them go say, oh, set it up. Everybody know the king govern the kingdom. Righteousness are where the king will come. From St. Mary straight to Kingston. Everything we test them, I go get flicked down. But they know say discipline is wisdom. If them go good for them, they tell them go sit down. And we have something and we make them lead on. Then when me a boss him out big like a drum. We know a boss it a Jamaica we done. We know a put nobody under the drum. We know we little island under the sun. With them sugar cane banana and rum. The shop was spring water about the farm body rum. The juice the mic and the bongo the drum. Big up a small and with the hydrating and the drum. When the whole meditation and blaze me chill up. Say while a white sun when the tourists run. Ask Steve a signal when Chuck Norris come. Talk about Jamaica in the Boris fun. Righteousness I want your name. Me a plan. See me and no see me. If you talk you with dumb. Last boy we time to ask me we fully come. And see they know no more man him can't bully down. This assemble and assemble who pull it down. Should love it that that's why he losing tongue. And see they know him get confused him dumb. She don't send Mary when the most fire burn. Send Mary me come from me no afraid of none. Even if they come with them laser gun. Don't you upon them can't turn it down. When I try my show can't done. I bring the joy and I bring the fun. Tell black people about them black curriculum. The real things and I say on the first can't done. Money well with the salvation job. But we have to get the vision big it. You want the food come. Everybody will come the kids come. But the whole had glory 13 months of sun. So you know say this is the new millennium. Here them do 12 something need to be done. No make them show you that and now mislead the son. You know they want them touch in and them cranium. When you are a you tell them to sit down. Them a fight over island over plutonium. Fight over heroin and opium. You think them a fight over your uranium. Listen to my song again. I'm going to for us. Listen again. Come up there, sir. Big up St. Mary when them most fire burn. St. Mary when them come in the frame and none. Even if them come with them laser gun. Turn it up and them can't turn it up. But I'm try my show can't done. I bring the joy and I bring the fun. Tell black people about them black curriculum. Tell the young King Selassie man the first can't done. Money well with the salvation jump. But we can't get the vision big it beat the jump. It took the 2000 just come. September 11 and not take it for fun. But I won't leave a glory 13 months for son. So you know say this is the new millennium. But I do
I'm ready whenever you're ready to start, Baba.
Right. Something need to be done.
I don't want to be too long for the people. Niggas ain't got attention spans like that.
Tell them it's done. They will fight over island, over plutonium, fight over heroin and opium. You tell them to fight over uranium. Yes, protected like president and the sun. And the toxic waste them want to pollute it up. I see it just page the know which part it done.
All right, family. I just like to give the family a little bit of that and that cable to energy. That fireman King Shango energy. All right, family. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV, Every Time Fire. As always, it's my absolute privilege and pleasure always to be in the presence of this mighty giant, intellectual giant, physical giant, spiritual giant, my big brother, SANKOFA, who has always an important message to bring to us today. Without any further ado, Brother SANKOFA.
Yeah, peace and love to the family. Peace and Black power. Definitely peace and Black power. We need power. When I say Black power, it is not a hallmark type of reactionary type of slogan. It is something that directly is geared towards acknowledging what this fallen part of humanity needs, which is empowerment. Power is going to be the root and the base to anything that we evolve and propel to going forward with everything that we've been through behind us. Empowerment. So we got the Black Lives Matter movement going on strong. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have different perspectives and even legitimate concerns with the movement and what it may be standing for and representing, or not even maybe, but is. However, the concept and the idea that Black Lives Matter itself does, not the organization itself, but not only does just Black Lives Matter, and I want to say this to the family right here, right now on Baba TV, Black power matters. That's right. This is how Black Lives Matter. Because if you have no power in life, those who have power to control and dictate your life and your destiny can always determine that your life doesn't matter. So there comes a time where the slogan has to have some oomph and some foundation and some you know what I'm saying, real grassroots and necessary, you know what I'm saying, concept and ideology that's going to empower the masses behind it. And empowerment is what we need. Power manifests and interpret into different levels. And when I say power, I mean all of that. It is no ideological box in which I'm in when I say Black power. You put it where you know it needed to be or needs to be in your community, your life, your family, or what have you. So basically, shout out to Baba TV once again. Thank you for having me on here. The brother's passionate. And I had a long day today too, man. Did like 10 hours today, man. But you know, to come before the people and just engage and address critical subject matters, social, political, historical matters that I find relevant and critically necessary to address, and to be able to do it on a platform such as this one is always dope. It's always dopeness. You know what I'm saying? So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. And I just want to do the subject matter in which I'm addressing tonight, some justice. You know what I'm saying? And what we want to talk about. And I'm open for dialogue and questions too. I don't want it to be a monologue, so we can go in and address different things from the perspective that the people have concerns with. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely want to do justice to the subject matter in which is entitled, excuse me, Wake Up or Die in Your Sleep. Wake up or die in your sleep. The audacity of you, SANKOFA, brother SANKOFA, to tell some nigga to wake up. Who? How woke are you, nigga? That's some people's perspective in which they would look at it. But nonetheless, wake up. And when we say we're woken up, we know we're talking about not just consciousness, because there are conscious people, or what they call that are still asleep. That still just really don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't tell if they do. So it really don't count anyway. But the whole point of the matter is waking up definitely is a process. But we are asleep on so many different deep-rooted psychological and otherwise levels that affect other levels and other areas, right? That we're ignorant, a lot of us, we're ignorant to the fact that we're even ignorant. A lot of us are ignorant to the fact that we're even ignorant. So therefore, by default, we become aiders and abettors in the continuation.
You stuck for a minute there, brother. SANKOFA, you stop. We'll get it together. You might have to go out and come back in, brother. There we go. Yo.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, it happens.
It happened. That was very racist. Oh, by default. No, I'm joking. Yeah. So, picking up where I hate when that happens, you just cut right into my build. You know what I'm saying? But picking up where I left off is that a lot of us are sleeping to the fact that we are at war on, and I say this a lot, but let's go into in detail and get into the specifics of how this affects us collectively, individually, organizationally, no matter what religious group or denomination or ramification that you're a part of, how it affects us. And that's why, and I've been saying for years, you know what I'm saying, nationalism is the common thread, not only solution, but something that we can connect on outside of considering rather our differences. You know what I'm saying? Organizationally, religiously, ideologically, theologically, so on and so forth. Because when it's nationalism, nation, NATO, what we all have in common, what is the opposition in which we're all facing on different levels, regardless of education, class, creed, or whatever, we all get our collective nigger check. And it used to happen periodic. Now it's happening more consecutive. You know what I'm saying? It's in your face more and more and more and more. We're getting the wake-up calls, and people are waking up. You know, I'm not a pessimist at all. And I love to see the spirit of a lot of the youth waking up. I'm paying attention and seeing what's going on, and it's dope. Some people, it took this time, it's gonna take something. They put us to sleep, and it took a process. Waking up is gonna take a process. To rob us collectively and for it to work intergenerationally where we were raised didn't just happen. We were in such a shallow and a people so insignificant that they just brought us here and wiped it out. It was a process to do it. So to wake us back up is a process. Not saying it should or has to take long or the same amount of time as the process to put us to sleep took place. However, it is the process to wake us up. And some people wake up quicker than others, so on and so forth. So like, waking up is a process. Some people understand that our issues are academic, and with education, you can definitely get further and succeed. And that is definitely true. There's no doubt about that. That is a fact. And anybody who would disagree with that, I would say I would have to question their level of intelligence or intellect or even sanity. You know what I'm saying? But however, if you stop there and you don't know that for people who are systematically oppressed, and a lot of times are not ignorant to the fact that they are ignorant to what they're facing, right? We got to consider that waking up is on different levels. We have to have a nationalistic or something that we understand that is a collective objective, regardless of class, education, level, affiliation with religious groups and all that, because they're coming at us with from every angle. Jesus ain't helping us like that. I'm not saying he ain't helping individuals or the concept of him aren't helping individuals who believe in him keep faith and keep fighting and stay strong in this. I'm saying we see ourselves in real time in battle and at war on different levels. And regardless of what our political, theological, ideological, philosophical situations are, or our inter squabbles with each other, some of us that have them or some of those that have them are with each other, we have a common thread enemy that is not playing and on all levels keep beating our asses in our faces killing our asses rather. I was being light right there by default. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't understand. It's just education. Some people say we have to understand our historic roots, where we come from the motherland. All these things are important, by the way. I am not in disagreement or one who is going to say that these things should not be discussed, because even in school, you have different classes. You have history class, you have science class. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what level or grade of school you in, you have different subjects and different courses that you go through throughout the school year that you get rated in, that which defines as or contributes to you having a collective right education. So the same thing should apply with us. We shouldn't look at ourselves as so minimal or marginalized or insignificant as a people that we shouldn't have different subject matters or curriculums in which we should all study that is necessarily and equally should be interconnected to the collective upliftment, awakening, reawakening, or effective one anyway. Because an awakening without a plan, I mean, put you back to sleep again, potentially. You know what I'm saying, Baba? So, you know, wake up or die in your sleep. I mean, it's like, yes, sir.
Not the,
yes, sir.
Go ahead, finish, and I got a question I'm gonna ask you. Go ahead. I ain't want to interrupt.
Well, I was going to say, well, the topic matter is wake up or die in your sleep. So, for instance, if we remain asleep, as there was an old saying back in the 90s saying hip hop, sleep is the sister of death. Sleep is. For the psychological long-term sleep state that the masses of us are in could result in the long-term us being complicit by default of not being aware, proactive, and that we already know everybody ain't gonna wake up. But when the masses are in the state that they're in right now, it's a state of emergency. You know what I'm saying? And urgency. You know, and like I said, everybody doesn't have to join a movement and become radical and get on the front line and pump their fists. In fact, most people shouldn't be doing that. Most people should be doing what affects things socially, politically, and definitely economically. With a plan of action, with all that is going on and transpiring in real time before our very eyes, we have the ability to use those who are serious. Everybody's not going to be on the same page, but those who see a plan should plan their work and work their plan. You know what I'm saying? For facts. Because at some point, the world is paying attention to us. And at some point, the momentum will get lost in oblivion. Like, oh, we already did that before. This is one of the biggest momentous times, and not to get lost in the hallmark concept of, oh my God, it's liberation time, and people catering to our causes. And a lot of times that is for political and corporate purposes, for your vote and for you to keep spending that money. So a lot of people are saying, well, you know, they all of a sudden understand your cause now because they don't want no looting or no more destruction to their property. Yeah, they're insured, but that only goes because you don't want to keep getting their stuff destroyed. And then they do want your dollar still. So if they have to front and cater to your cause and say we're supporting, whether they're true, some are may be real or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust the enemy at all. But for y'all who believe that, just definitely trust and believe and know. Okay? That definitely you can't trust your opposition. You cannot trust your opposition. And regardless if the world is watching, and we do have those who may be allies or seeming to be allies with us, it can get lost in infiltration or being hijacked by other people's agendas, even some of our own or that look like us. I use the term own loosely when I say my own with black people nowadays. Everybody ain't just my own, but you know what I'm saying? For the sake of argument, my own, some of them are a part of organizations and groups who may be using this momentous moment and this time that is epic in history, where the world is watching what is going on with the struggle, the age-old struggle with black people here in America, the victims of sons and daughters of slavery, chattel slavery, Jim Crow. We stopped there a lot of time. Reconstruction. You know what I'm saying? Homestead Act. Look that up. FHA redlining. The crack epidemic, which the CIA even admitted in 1997 to the Congressional Black Caucus that they were responsible for the influx of crack cocaine in the volume that you've seen it dropping in every ghetto and inner cities of America back in the 80s. They admitted these things. The CDC admitting that they're giving black children contaminated vaccines, leading to long-term issues and short-term, definitely short-term, but definitely long-term too, issues where there's brain damage, when it, you know what I'm saying? Lead in the water in Flint. They don't talk about it as much, so a lot of us forget about it, and we chase what's on the media a lot of times. And some things we definitely got to chase, whether it's on the media or not. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of times people, when it's something that's sensationalized, they address that. When Flint is still an issue, in other places with lead in the water are still issues. With the black on black crime epidemic, which we contribute to our own demise, with assistance. It ain't just us out there killing each other.
Our people being lynched is still an issue.
Our people being lynched is going on. It's all considered suicide. And I would ask you this, Baba, how many black people, we don't know all black people, right? But we know black people that know black people that know black people. And we know our culture and a lot of our habits. How many black people, from when they say, because these lynchings, right, are considered or have been ruled suicides or no foul play, as they say. However, let's analyze and put into perspective. Now, I'm no forensic psychologist, you know what I'm saying? However, I will say that common sense, and from what I know, how many black people you know just own ropes? Just got ropes at their goddamn house because they were hung from trees with ropes, not a belt, not a shoestring. You know, black people got guns. Black people got access to drugs. They can overdose. They jump off a bridge or a tenement building. Who just has a rope and climbs a tree? And this is just happening consecutively all across the country in the last week. About 6 or more. Some things are probably being covered up. Don't ever, you know what I'm saying? Don't be surprised or don't ever second guess if that could be the case. But for what we do know, which has been reported, right? We see that there's been all these lynchings, two of which were 50 miles apart from each other around the same day. I mean, and this has been going on not just this year, years before. Am I saying this to scare you into trying to wake up? But no, but when the people have been asleep for so long, you got to shake them up in order to wake them up. When niggas have been in their sleep and in a deep sleep as long as they are, and we are collectively affected the way that we are, you got to shake them up. You got to shake us up in order to wake us up. That's basic mathematics. It's not that deep. So a lot of the ways in which I use my euphemisms or my energy or my passion or my knowledge and my experience or my commitment to whatever place I play in this struggle or amongst the teachers who talk about and critique the struggle that we're in to give inspiration and insight and knowledge to the masses, wherever I play my part in this is real because my passion is real. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been seeing this in 3D, HD, and surround sound all my life. And it's just crazy because we're seeing a lot going on in the world right now. 2020 came in swinging. I mean, god damn, right? 2020 goddamn came in swinging. I mean, from Kobe to COVID to all kind of just different stuff, man. People just dropping. We lost a lot of love. There's no joke. Lost a lot of loved ones, family. I lost, man, a close relative, just like my brother, my cousin, just last February. I mean, just it's a lot going on. Then COVID came. I lost a lot of other people I knew. The morale of the people is down. There's a lot going on. And at the same time, these crackers still find it in their cold hearts to still lynch and kill. They just won't let up. And they're not going to. And a leopard shouldn't try to change his spots to try to convince you he ain't a leopard no more. God damn it, it's time for us to wake up. You know what I'm saying? When they say the trumpet of truth is being blown, that trumpet of truth is being blown in many ways. It ain't just somebody telling you how great you was 10,000 years ago in Egypt. It ain't somebody trying to give you an identity from 2,000 or 4,000 or 6,000 or 10,000 years ago. That is non-functional right now and only dysfunctional because it divides our confused ass people already more than it is. Not that you don't have the right and entitlement to believe what you ought to, and you damn sure do, and I support that. But however, when you're into nationalism, no matter what your label, creed, desired identity, because we have many, us as black people, right, is you see the common, collective, objective, and the threat, most importantly, because the first law of nature is self-preservation, the threat that is imminent, that if you don't plan and organize around, which will be the end result of your demise collectively, or will have a hell of an impact on you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, we got to look at different things and different aspects of how and what we got to wake up from. I mean, like, we talked about black on black crime. We talked about lynching. Lynching is going on, and that's ill, because they're reminding you that with all the progression that we've made, that, you know, we don't understand the beast that we're dealing with and what the objective was when we were first brought here and what we are collectively considered in the Constitution to this day as 3/5 of a human. You know what I'm saying? And looking at the concept of the Dred Scott case, some people say, well, that was old school. That was back then. And, you know, the Dred Scott case has no bearing on now, but that was a case that is on the records in the books that can be looked at right now. You know what I'm saying? And it said, and a lot of Caucasians still feel this way, that it said that the white man, they asked him when he was arrested and he was captured in a territory that they still had, you know, slavery. It wasn't a liberated a place yet. It wasn't emancipated or whatever have you at the time. And when the area he was at, and when he was brought there back into slavery, because they were doing a lot of slave catching, like the movie 12 Years a Slave had showed you and detailed for you, you know what I'm saying? That was really going on. So when he got brought, and that was in Louisiana. Yeah, I believe. Yeah. Missouri. That was in Missouri, rather. Excuse me. Missouri. I always get them two states confused. I don't know why. So that was in Missouri. And one of the things, getting to the meat and potatoes, he said when he was brought before the court and tried, because he was trying to go for his freedom, because he was from a so-called free territory. And they said, because they're going back to the concept that they still feel whether it's been upgraded or updated or nullified or has been erased or whatever, in the social fiber and the psychological fiber and in the blood that pumps through the blood of white America, still believe this of you, that you are 3/5 of a man. That you are 3/5 of a man. And like they said to Dred Scott, that a white man has no right or has no bearing to have to respect the rights of a black man or the life of a black man. You know what I'm saying? As a free or equal. You know what I mean? And that's been a case that's on the books. You can look up the Dred Scott case. And a lot of them have that within their mindset. And for their thing is like, we worked 200 years to steal, to rob, to kill, to murder, to get this land from the people that were already here. Yeah, some of our ancestors from Africa were here, but the indigenous people that were already here were here too. And a lot of people got wiped out, be that was it as it may. They fought, they put up wars, you know what I'm saying? So they took this and they do believe in what they considered manifest destiny. Historically, this is what they believe. You know what I'm saying? When I say they, I mean the system, the institution. I'm not talking about specific white folk. So a lot of people don't get hung up about you got a cool white friend at work. You know what I'm saying? That y'all, you know, have tea and donuts with at Sunday. On Tuesdays at lunch. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about institutionally. You know what I'm saying? In the social fabric and the psychological fabric of America, this is instilled and it manifests, and you see the impact of it institutionally, especially as it manifests in law enforcement and other institutions. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, but in law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? So you see the lynchings going on at a time where people are protesting and people are paying attention to us all around the world. We're causing a global impact. People are protesting all around the world. We're causing a global impact, right? And then all of a sudden, all these black people are hanging themselves from trees. They just own ropes all of a sudden now. I don't know no nigga with a rope. Or that like hikes and just climbs trees. You know what I'm saying? They're just hanging themselves all around the country. You know what I'm saying? At a time like this, and it's all ruled to suicide. Because, you know, they know damn well if they told you that it may be foul play or suspected racism to it, it'll go from what you see now to definitely more turned up. They know that. So they're not going to report to you true news. But I hope our minds aren't still slaves, all of ours anyway, and we can see through the smoke and mirrors and the cover up and the concealment and the deception. Don't let somebody give you your opinion. Utilize your understanding of history and which we've been through here. We've been through, not just I. I may be one of the more radical ones who talks about it and is more vocal about it. But man, we are at fucking war and we're losing. And the fact that we're losing is predicated on the fact that a lot of us is on our own dicks. We don't realize that we are at war and we need more revolutionaries than we do just fucking scholars who are psychologically, mentally masturbating and babbling and quoting and parroting. And there's a time for that. I only say that at a time where we're at this. Not everybody should have the vocal voice and be as militant as I or more. I'm not saying I'm some standard of measurement of militancy, but some people may perceive me as a little, you know, turnt right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying everybody should be as vocal as I. However, like for people who pay no attention to that or put that on the bottom margin or look at us like the bourgeoisie class of so-called intellectual black that still do exist now or do. That's why they don't speak about these issues. That's why they don't really, you know what I'm saying, are not really addressing what is necessary. You know what I'm saying? Because whether came from Kemet or whether we came from, all this is important now in its proper context and in its proper relevancy too. About history, whether we were Moors or whether we all that doesn't matter right now when your ass is losing, no matter what the hell you claim your ass is. I mean, there is no nationalism and there's only tribalism. I'm this, I'm that, but you're all just whack. I'm being funny like yeah, you know what I'm saying? And we are in light of how other things and institutions and people are organized, not just against us, but just organized. So it plays against us because we're not organized. So then when they do want to show their hand of racism or prejudice, whether they be not just Caucasians, the China man's been giving it to us too. We got to wake up or die in our fucking sleep, in our psychological sleep state that we're in. Even a lot of woke folks are still asleep. They don't get it. They're focused and angry and all uptight about too much and put too much energy and passion, in my humble opinion, into things that are immaterial to what a lot of things we're facing and will be facing and what the end outcome would be if we keep facing it. It's easy to just quote and parrot what somebody said in history, but to be able to be a critic and critique in real time certain things that are going on and put it in relevance as it pertains to your people and what needs to be done, not only just critiquing the problem, but knowing how to talk about and even know what solutions ought to be and how to convey them. That's what's important too. We need more goddamn revolutionaries. We got a lot of scholars and we got a lot of people marching, but damn it, we need more shooters too. Not just with the physical from the hip, from the mind, and from the lip too, but for all levels, because they're not playing. So I'm not even the type to act like where I'm going to play either. I've already in my mind realized I'm going to die for what I fucking believe in. Little backdrop history about me too. You know, I'm not, for a lot of people are familiar with me on YouTube. You know, I haven't been on here in a while. So there are new people on Brother SANKOFA, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm just your brother with a message. You know what I'm saying? With the advent of social media, certain brothers who've been on this for decades have a voice. You know what I'm saying? I'm still studying and learning, so I don't ever try to be the guy that knows it all. I've been through different schools of thought. I've been through different experiences. I met great teachers and sat at the feet of many of them. A lot of things I don't even talk about that I can go into. My life is very deep and layered, and I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be as I'm evolving into who I'm becoming. I know that. Two most important times in your life is when you're born and when you figure out why you was born. I already figured out why I was born a long time ago, but I had other challenges and other issues and my own discipline and attitudes and all that stood in my own way. It wasn't always just white supremacy, even though that institution is always there. My lack of discipline put me into certain pitfalls that let me get caught up in a system or the web in which was already created with me before my ass was even born. So being able to go through these things and getting consciousness in stages and the different levels at life and at different times and different schools of thought, I was able to connect a lot of different dots. I was able to enhance my thoughts and able to make me even more sharp. So now as I'm looking back in respect, it happened to rhyme. So now looking back in retrospect, when I can put things in perspective, I'm looking at like everything, and with me being, when I was first, like before I was even came out my mother's womb, I remember in Boston, the story that was told to me, and Baba's been there with me. Shout out to Baba TV. Check out the Boston playlist too if you haven't checked it out already. You know what I'm saying? So when they did the forced busing thing in Boston, because the South had already been segregated to school. I mean, pseudo integrated. They didn't integrate the resources. They didn't integrate the level of materials or things that the kids needed to have the equality in the school system. They just pseudo integrated. However, Boston didn't even pseudo integrate at the time. It was until 1974 when they started to integrate the schools. And it was an act, they had to really push for that in Boston. You know what I'm saying? This was at a time where the South, which was known as the cradle or the citadel of white supremacy and white resistance, here up in the North in Boston, in my hometown, you know what I'm saying? In the 70s, in the city that John F. Kennedy came from and is known as the cradle of liberty, supposedly. You know what I'm saying? In the 74, not that I don't care that our schools are integrated. We just need equality and distribution of the resources. So we're going to do our own thing. We know in America, that's not the plan or design, but that's another topic. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so after they started to integrate the schools, to move the black kids to the schools and parts of poor white parts of Boston too. My mother was one of the people that was put on the bus and had to go because she was in high school. My mother was pregnant with me, conceived me, and at a pretty young age. So she was still actually in high school, and her being brought to school after they did the kids went back to school in I think it was the 74 school year going into 75. Her being pregnant with me on the bus had to go to a very at that time it has blacks there now and a lot of Haitians and Jamaicans there now, but at that time in the 70s was a lot of poor white racist white trash out there too. You know what I'm saying? When she went to the school and got off the bus, they was just started rioting. She ended up getting knocked down in the interim of everything that took place. You know what I'm saying? As a result, me being born, you know what I'm saying? I believe that's why that militancy was in my soul or in my spirit. Ever since I was young, I always had that passion, always had that just, I wanted to know, why are we at the bottom? Well, as a kid, things I would ask questions about. In my granddaddy's church, why is y'all white and the whole church is black? I don't even know why I would ask these kind of questions. I do believe things like that took place in my life, even before my actual birth, just in my inception. And the story shared me, is no coincidence that I was born on the same day as Malcolm X, May 19th, considering all that, after all that, you know what I'm saying? And it's not about just me, but like I said, getting back to the point, the two most important times in your life is when you're born and when you find out why you're born. And even me seeing my, you know what I'm saying, path at a young age, but not really paying attention to the signs, living up to my fullest capability, but life is a journey, not a destination. As my eyes are opening more and more and more, the more I learn, the more I realize the need for us to wake up, and the urgency of, no matter what our schools of thought is, we got to wake up, because we are at war. We don't talk about a lot of things that they keep putting out in the news. Black identity extremists. What about that? You think that just went away? That just vanished? No, that don't mean be afraid, but it does mean be prepared. It does mean be aware. It does mean, know and organize based on what you have to know. Look at everything going on. You know what I'm saying? Look at the prison industrial system, how that benefits for us. We got to talk about that too. You know what I'm saying? Because that is one of the biggest industries in America, the prison industrial industry. And in a capitalist regime such as of America, and considering the 13th Amendment, you know what I'm saying, which was designed to re-enslave your black ass, you know what I'm saying, how we benefit the prison industrial complex, and how a lot of our misguided soldiers keep ending up there, and why we have to organize around so many things. We got to talk about police brutality, because it is real, and in real time we're seeing that. We got to talk about black on black crime. We got to talk about the beast within. We got to clean up our own backyard. We got to pull out the weeds in our own backyard. We got to weed and seed. This is true too, because we're warring internally and we're warring externally, and we're losing on both ends. And we're aiders and abettors of our own destruction. Yes, oh, woke folks, we're here, but we make up less than 1% of the masses of the goddamn people. And even amongst us, we're divided, or don't even know each other, or not even interested in it, or have petty strifes and schisms with each other, and we don't understand. Caucasians have it too. They don't all get along either. However, they have a structure, an institution, right, and an infrastructure to protect and give them certain privileges that we don't even have. So that's the difference between us being divided, because not all of them are united either. That's true. But our division along most lines are more fragile and detrimental to us because of the condition of us, and then just our status here in America historically. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. The prison industrial system. Look at when the black man goes to prison. You know what I'm saying? Just your incarceration. Look how many jobs that it provides, or keeps going, or maintains, or ensures for future people. Look how many jobs it provides. You know, telephone companies. You know what I'm saying? You got to get them collect calls, get people. They're changing a lot of it now in prison, but there's still something you got to pay. There's money. There's industry in that. Canteen companies. Bob Barker, even from The Price is Right. I remember when I was locked up back in the day, the shoes that you wear and the suits, that's Bob Barker. Major investments in that. You know what I'm saying? Electric company, canteen companies, locksmiths. These are jobs that are provided. Maintenance company, power wash companies, just from your incarceration. So of course, the people that are undesirable, unwanted people here in this country, there's already going to be written and unwritten, spoken of and unspoken of, obvious and things not too obvious. They deal in stealth, that are going to be used to destroy to reincarcerate, to re-enslave, to re-lynch, to re-kill, to re-pillage, to destroy you ultimately. And anybody who sees this as a conspiracy theorist is a KKKON, not just a regular coon. You got 3 Ks in front of it, not even with a C, with the double O-N, nigga. Because this is what we're facing. And everybody can't just be always proper and dot every I and cross every T. We definitely got to do that, and there's a time for that. But God damn it, I'm part gorilla, part pit bull, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Completely panther. I mix it up different, and it's an urgent time that we're in. I remember I had a whole different template that I've written down. Some things I'm definitely covering, but that the spirit just moved me. You know what I'm saying? To speak differently about that spirit of George Jackson just moved me to just speak about that Nat Turner, that Dessalines in me. Just moved me to say something different. That Chris Bookman in me just moved me to say something more different, more radical, more relevant, and more critical to the issue. Fuck peace, nigga. Stay dangerous. Fuck peace. This ain't a time for peace. If you believe in the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 8 says there's a time for love and there's a time for hate. There's a time for love and there's a time for hate. There's a time for peace and there's a time for war. We at war. Now, there's an art to war, and that's what we are to explore, but we at war for sure. Don't just dress yourself in your religious beliefs and garb and wear that on our sleeves. We ought to wear reality on our sleeves. And the fact that we are at war, fuck peace, stay dangerous. My people's in Connecticut. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, Galactic Guards in Waterbury, Connecticut. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? Gave me to say, stay dangerous. And I ran with that. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm going to rock with that. So that's what I say. Stay dangerous, because that's how you ensure. You can't always ensure your peace. But God damn it, we're at time of war. So how you better be at peace staying dangerous than to be at peace not. You know what I'm saying? You're more of a sitting duck. Does that mean to walk around looking silly and wild-eyed and militant all day and acting like the boogeyman's going to come out, a white hand's going to come out the fridge if you open it up to go get some leftover food? No, we're not. Don't get nutty. And I'm being giving a little dash of humor. But however, we need to keep on the forefront of our mind that we are at war. We ought to have more gun clubs and militias legally. A lot of us talk about the Constitution and paperwork and just nationality. What about the part of bearing arms? Organized and legally. We need to get more in tune with other things going on and use things to our advantage. That ain't gonna work. Well, God damn it, if nothing else is working, and no matter what you call yourself or claim you are, or paperwork you got, or identity you say, or sovereignty you establish or claim, or what have you, they're still killing your ass indiscriminately. The pattern doesn't seem like it's going to change. They don't plan on letting up. How many more centuries do we have? Not many. We're the lowest rate of minority number-wise here in America now, when at a certain time, we were the major minority population here. And not only that, the people whose blood, sweat, and tears built this, we're becoming more relevant here to them in a country that is a regime built on capitalism. You're relevant. You're better dead or in jail. Yes, they're not trying to kill every single person, but to marginalize you and other, not just them, other people that are coming here that are gaining momentum in business and institutions in their communities and all of that, don't want us around either. They don't want us around either. You see what's going on with the Chinese, not just them. Some of our people who have been comrades in the communities with us for a long time, Latinos, for the ones that it applied to, by the way, switching up, acting like psychological colonialized slaves under that Spaniard mentality, like they hate us. You know what I'm saying? But they don't hate the ones that collectively raped us with the same passion, or any at all for that matter. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot going on. And like I said, this ain't to scare us. This is to inform us, to prepare us. You know what I'm saying? It ain't to scare us, but it's to inform us, to prepare us. Because a lot of us have knowledge. Some of us are amongst our people are great. We are so talented of a people. You might have a black person who is a damn brain surgeon who can fickle the mind of the average person on matters of the mind science that you couldn't even fathom, or it would take you a long time to do so. But imagine if they just didn't have no revolutionary idea of the system at large that educated them. All they see is what it got from it. They don't see what it does to the masses. So even though they're smarter and they have an education and they may be advanced in the masses, they fall short because they don't understand the bigger picture, the bigger plan, and how they have their doctors, their engineers, their scientists, their planners, their people who are politicians and economists and academic, not all of them, but enough of them to create organizations, and even organizations within organizations to create structures to keep things the way that they are. We don't do that. We get an education or some money, we become individuals. More individualistic, and not everybody. Shout out to the rappers who are doing things and promoting unity and empowerment, like Master P. Talking about we should invest and buy our communities back and reinvest and take it back. Because we got the money. $1 trillion a year spending power, according to the World Bank Atlas. And we act like this. Partly is because we only produce 1% as it stands now. We only, African Americans, only produce 1% of what we consume. Only produce 1% of what we consume. Therefore, you have to go to everybody else for your needs. But we produce some of the greatest intellects, scholars, writers, artists, people in politics, not to say I'm with politics, but as far as in that field, got great respect and acknowledgement in them realms. But without nationalism or a national objective or agenda or being woke to that, that's what really being woke is. If you understand all this stuff and you're still waiting for strictly something else to come save you, oh man, I only say this, but your enemy's waiting for something too. There's Caucasians and white supremacists that believe in their concept of God, whether you say their belief is true or not, that's something different. They believe in something too. There's a battery in their back too. There's something that inspires them too. There's something that moves them too. There's something that gives them the confidence, the fortitude, the intertesticular fortitude, the audacity that the cracker has to be the way that he does. And he believes that it's spiritual. But the only thing is, he ain't just waiting for something to give him power or to keep him in power. He has something organized right now, sound on the ground, while the fuck he's still around. And a lot of us is waiting for some pie in the sky to come while we alive, some of us, or after we die. And that's all right. Believe that, but let that motivate you to fight now until that time. Believe that, but that should be the battery in your back. That should be the motivating factor. That should be your Energizer battery to get you, to mobilize you into levels where we're standing up. I mean, we're 16 generations about, or 15, 17, 16 generations up for slavery about, from the Emancipation Proclamation. You know what I'm saying? Black people, about 85% of us exist between, 18, 20 states. So we're a minority here, and we're dwindling here in America too. You know what I'm saying? We only make up a collectively 13.8%. A result of, collectively speaking, not raw numbers, because we know white women get more abortions, but there are more white women in America than black women. But 33% of the abortions, this is the last statistics I checked about 2 years ago, or more, we give or take. I'm sure it didn't change that much, because we didn't change that much. You just look around. You know what I'm saying? So for a population that is that small in America, that used to be the oldest ethnic group and the biggest so-called minority group here have dwindled to that. And even though we have more millionaires, billionaires, scholars, mayors, police chiefs, people in politics, black presidents once even, things have gotten worse with us. To go to show you, just being in politics or just having money or just even having an education or being in the fields of science and technology, which are all good and definitely necessary, to have that as individuals without a collective objective or an agenda, which is really being woke. It's a collective thing. That will only contribute to our collective demise long term. If we're at war anyway, some people say, "Oh, yeah, what are they trying to limit us anyway?" Well, then, goddamn it, how you fight? Fight is on many different fronts. You always say how it's academic, psychological, economic, spiritual. It's so many different levels. It's so tiered that you plan for people who have certain skills or certain concerns or certain areas of expertise. Boom, can contribute on that level if they're concerned. We already know it's about the masses. It's not up. The masses of people aren't going to follow it, but the micro affects the masses. The micro affects the macro, rather. So the minority, George Floyd caused a mass spot, and rightfully so. And rest in peace to our brother, George Floyd, and all the victims of pig brutality. However, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the rabbit hole, it goes so deep, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. I mean, I'm jumping around to a lot of different things. You know, there's so much I want to talk about and I can cover and want to go into, but time is of the essence. I don't have any prepared kind of thing that I just want to go in, but I just wanted to cover things on so many different bases, like that we got to cover on, that we need to open up dialogue on more. I would like to see us talk more with the same passion and enthusiasm, right? That we talk about with very relevant topics, by the way, but just on the bottom of the totem pole of relevancy, considering the reality in which collectively we're facing. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have other people out protesting and out being more outstanding and more boisterous and responding to things in certain ways than we do. Because what happens is the momentum of what we're talking about gets lost. The purpose and the objective gets hijacked and it gets distorted and changed to something else. If we don't realize that, we're setting ourselves up. I'm sure some people are intelligent skeptics and can already see that. Some people will see the things that I'm conveying right now as conspiracy theorism or paranoia. And it's not that at all. I know my enemy. It's deep, Mobb Deep, my dude Mobb Deep. I mean, my dude Prodigy from Mobb Deep. He has a song called No Religion. You know, it's no pun to the religious folks. But it's dope because he's talking about, if you listen to the song, he's talking about the deep state of conditioning and being brainwashed of black people. And he says, we just want to make dollars. We don't want to make sense. We don't want to pay attention. We just want to pay the rent. We just want to make dollars. We don't want to make sense. We don't want to pay attention. We just want to pay the rent. Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion. Listen to that song on YouTube or go to your, you know, whatever, and listen to it, people. But it's deep. When he said that, a lot of people are so distracted. Black people are not all lost for the same reason. Everybody's not lost because of religion. Some people are woke to something, but they're, you know what I'm saying? It's deep. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like we got to wake up on levels of organizing. You know, a lot of us know what the problem is, even myself too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have an organized, united black front. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things. White people are organized. The LGBTQ community is organized. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are very deep, passionate, have a message. outspoken in our representatives of a very powerful paradigm of contributors to the paradigm change of the upliftment of the minds of our people. And that is a beautiful and important thing. However, a lot of us, and myself included even, and all of us, even the ones that are doing it, there's still improvement, room for improvement for you and us collectively as well. You know what I'm saying? We got to get right, or we're going to get fucking left right where we're at. We got to get right, or we're going to get left right where we're at. Planned Parenthood, which was called the Negro Project in its inception, was geared towards the depopulation of degenerate whites, poor, and people who were considered unwanted eaters and imbeciles and, you know, people of that sort. But the main trigger was for us to eliminate us. This is within the social fabric and fiber of America. You see what I'm saying? Do all whites support it? No, you got a lot of white, more probably anti-abortion activists than black ones. But however, even be that as it may, the black woman has the highest abortion rate, African American in America. And unless the statistics have changed, because I haven't checked this year, at one point, if not at the same still point, had the highest rate population-wise, not raw numbers. Black woman only makes up 8% of America. Okay? So has the highest rate of AIDS. So you consider the highest rate of AIDS, the highest rate of abortion, and abortion accounts for one of the highest rates of death in the black community collectively. What are the, sociologically speaking, what are the ominous implications to what will come out of that in 2, 3, 4 more generations? With a minority group that has become a smaller minority group that is already divided politically, economically, and organizationally, don't have a nationalistic objective, because they're not really woke. They're just passionate about information. Being woke and being passionate about information is not always the same thing, although there's definitely a connection upon which they meet. Everybody don't meet at that, obviously. So any questions you got, Baba, too, because I don't want to just be having a monologue. And, you know, any questions you got or comments you want to definitely chime in. So, you know, we can definitely keep the people's intellectual palates wet and going forward into the dialogue and the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Overstood, my good brother. However, one thing that I don't like to do is when I see something spiritual going on, as far as teaching, I don't like to ever interrupt that. But I do have a question. Okay,
there you go.
What do you think the Black Lives Matter movement, do you think that that's a movement that has been co-opted by others? Do you still think that it has the remnant of or people in it that has Black people's best interests at heart, or have other self-interests become attached to this movement?
I believe what you just said at the last part, or what you just asked rather, at the last part of the question, is definitely something to be considered, and not to take off the table of discussion. Is it co-opted, or was it created, rather? George Soros, you know, the women who organized it, you know, I do believe that because they are Black, and being Black and a woman, and even if they were to be hypothetically people that lived an alternative sexual lifestyle, would conceive themselves definitely as triple oppressed or discriminated against in a way. So a lot of times I believe that Black, which would be a cause that a lot of people are familiar with, they're killing people because they're Black, regardless of their sexual preference or their choice or lives. They don't walk up to you and ask you all the time, what do you, what is your lifestyle? What is your religion? Or what do you know what I'm saying? Or what is your preference? So I do believe some people with other lifestyles, objectives, and agendas even would use the thing that is most prevalent to most, which is the fact that we are Black first and foremost, and that's what the opposition sees. But we have to be cautious because with that, a lot of people have other objectives and agendas and will use that as the cannon power to open the door of dialogue, support, and attention, but in the backdrop have other things that can overshadow the plight of what it was originally promoted and got the attention of masses of people by, which was the fact that Black Lives Matter, because to the masses it was treated as though Black people's lives didn't matter. We got to consider people who fund it. We got to consider what people's mission statements are. We got to consider, like, there's, people that look up things for themselves and determine for themselves. Some people say that they're on low LBGQ2. I can't even pronounce that because I'm not used to having to, pronounce that or whatever, or, what I'm saying, mention them. But the LBGTQ community, if I'm saying it correctly, they're Black too. So people are going to support that. But my thing is, once you have an agenda, an objective, if this is indeed true, you know what I'm saying? And it's overshadowing the age-old struggle for social justice for a race of people, and not for people just to use this as cannon power to promote an alternative sexual lifestyle that they see that supersedes and are integrationalists as well. And they think supersedes the cause, the needs, the objective, and the critical attention to what we need to focus on as a people, which is self-preservation, because they've written us off and the process of elimination have already been started. We're catching up late now. And I'm looking at it like, as I've said before, hopefully we could win in the fourth quarter. We're waking up late. We got to hurry up. Like when you're waking up late and you got to hurry up and get to school, you ain't got time to bullshit and lallygag and link up with your, you got to hurry up and just dip and get moving and beat the cement or push the pedal to the metal and get to your destination. It's like that now with us. You know what I'm saying? Like we're waking up collectively because it seems like it's becoming a trend. Everybody, but not all the time. I spiritualize my outlook on our plights. And I don't mean it in a, how do I want to put it, in a parochial or religious kind of way. When I say I spiritualize it, the highest faculty of thought, which deals with the mind, which deals with a deep state of meditation or perception of things, it deals with a heightened level of awareness. You know what I'm saying? I put that perspective of what I see going on, I connect it like that. And I look at this as these things have to happen in order for to impact things that definitely have to happen long term. And depending on how we get proactive in it or get organized in it or utilize the momentum to our benefit with it, will be the determining factor as to what the outcome is for us. Or people who have the term Black Lives Matter, which sounds good, and Black lives do matter. I agree with the slogan and the term. I may not agree with all the objectives and the agenda of what the movement itself has or entails. But however, what our people are to do is not just depend on the Black Lives Matter movement. We have enough intelligent, revolutionary, and strong people out here, especially the youth, who can start and replace that. And it's not going to happen anyway. It's not going to always be the Black Lives Movement. Only thing that stays the same is change. I understand the law of rhythm. I understand the law of free will. I understand the law of evolution. Not like that you came from a monkey evolution, but evolution means that re-evolution. Put a re in front of it, you got re-evolution or revolution. I understand the law of revolution, that the only thing that stays the same is change. So the Black Lives Matter movement in the time that we're in now is a matter of time, from what I foresee, that they spark or inspire people who are against or don't agree with or are not in support with their stance on certain other things that they see in contrast with Black Lives Mattering, will start their own movements and organizations and will eclipse that. This is a journey, not a destination. Black Power movement ain't the destination, but the world is paying attention to that. So those who don't agree ought to utilize their greatest resources of intellect, of intellectuals, of organizers, or try to seek some and unify with those, and then try to create something that is a counter or a contrast to that, that is an example of what we really need. Because we'll be talking about Black Lives Matter and not organizing and putting so much passion and energy of talking about them that we're feeding the beast in a way, so much energy, instead of putting our energy into things that will organize us to create better and more movements. We don't need one or two. We need a whole bunch. A lot of us, that's the problem too. We're waiting for the organization, or we only talk about what happens that is sensationalized. There is shit going on all behind the scenes, all within law, intergenerationally, all institutionally, that's been the result directly of many of our social political shortcomings that we ought to start to address and should have been addressing, and not let being militant right now be popular because everybody in Caucasians are pumping their fists next to you. And Black Lives Matter can become a slogan with no substance or no manifested empowerment because it's just a slogan. That's why I say Black Power matters. How does Black Power matter? Because without empowerment or without power, your life is not even guaranteed. And those who do have power and have an agenda against you have the power to determine potentially the outcome of you no longer having life. Black Power matters in order for your Black life to matter. So not to sugarcoat it and not to make it sweet for some people who are too sweet to accept strong truth, I just got to say it for what it is. Black Power matters. Even if you don't subscribe to the term or the vernacular Black Power, let's just say empowerment. Let's see how people have needs and we're in struggles, and there are things and resources that we need within each other as far as pooling things together with an agenda and an objective, because everybody else has one except for us. We're just individuals. That will contribute to the empowerment, the advancement, the growth, the betterment of our people. That is power. What is the power? Power has a lot of different definitions. The ability to develop, define, defend that which you see as a vision in your mind, to bring it into fruition. That is a form of power. Power could be physical strength. Power could be the ability to utilize things in your favor that work to your best interest and in opposition to the detriments against you. That's power. So if we can't see Black and power in the same word, and people that have a problem with that, you damn sure have a problem with the process of attaining it. You're still caught up on semantics, or your ass is losing. All white people didn't call themselves white. They are Irish. They understand they got different tribes and pedigrees and different differences amongst them, but they understand through especially through the European Union. We against Pan-Africanism, but they have a European Union. They have Pan-Asianism. Everybody has a pan except for your ass. You just in the pan, frying. And they're turning the heat up on us.
Brother SANKOFA, I have another question. Now, in light of what all that's together, what's going on with the slave catchers, with the police, they talking about defunding the police, and I'm a firm believer that the police definitely, if I had my way, would be separated. I put the white folks with they good white fragility and inferiority complex and all the other defects out there with their own people in the suburbs. And this is why joining some organization really is important. Because if it's one thing the Hebrews have, if it's one thing the Nation of Islam has, that a lot of us don't have, is discipline. It's like we running around, runaway child, running wild with no discipline to actually have people who have black people who have love and concern for their own people come and train, because we got a lot of black police that don't love our people much more than their slave masters do, and have the Hebrews come in, the Nation of Islam come in, train some of these black officers for real. And because I don't say defund the police, we have to have some type of law and order, about things, but it has to be done with people who a group of your peers and people who suffer what you suffer, and people who have the same compassion and understanding for you. And that's why I'm a firm believer that the police definitely should be separate. It shouldn't be, you should not have white folks, a bunch of scared to death, hateful ass slave masters, the children of the slave master in the black communities. In light of all of this that's been going on now, policing the black community, they should not be back or allowed back in the community, because the next time it won't be, it's getting to that point where it won't be cameras. You'll be done with. You'll be getting your ass tore up by the people, by the angry group of black people, and so that's coming. That's coming.
Well, I would say in a capitalist regime, once again, one of your greatest weapons is a dollar. Okay? How you spend and how you withhold or how you organize your dollar would work, which brings me to the point of defunding. I'm not going to say that's going to be the answer to eliminate white supremacy within the police force, because you're always going to have crackers that hate niggas in the police force. However, it would marginalize certain resources. For instance, say a proposition was made, for instance, that I read about last week, that it said that it was dealing with defunding the police, but it was also pertaining specifically to this, that if you start to sue the police and you sue a specific officer, not just the city, or if you do sue the city, the money comes out of that officer's pension or retirement, you'll start to see something slow down. It's not going to change their feelings and heart, but everybody does have to make a living here and eat. Is that going to eliminate it completely? No. But in a political chess game, you got to know how to move your pieces a certain way. I would think that would be a piece that we may or should consider moving with. Am I delusional or reactionary thinking that that's going to change a paradigm or eliminate? No, because there's so much work that needs to be done. The institution is dirty. The problem ain't the goddamn spider web, it's the spider. So by us doing that, it's just tearing down one of the damn spider webs. It ain't killing the spider, but damn it, you might get the spider web off you for a minute so you can get loose and be able to deal with the spider a little bit better.
Right.
If that makes any sense. And we have to have realistic approaches. There's not going to be no disunification of the police force. I've heard about things proposed where, again, officers of that color or culture should be more so in their community. I agree with that. I think that will definitely assist along some lines, but we have to be concerned about the fact that there were black police, like the white collar, they'll slam you down to the street talk, black police showing out for the white cop. And the song Fuck the Police by NWA back in the day. You have a lot of black cops who ain't, you know what I'm saying? And yo, the black police, the house nigga, they gave you a motherfucking gun, so I guess you figured you made out good to go, but you didn't know they will put your black ass back in the ghetto, yo, to kill another nigga, catching the crack of fact free base, yo, they put it in your neighborhood in the first place. That's what NWA said too, and fuck the police part 2. Now, it's funny because a lot of them have already been trained a certain way and come from a certain curriculum of training. Not that there are no decent black cops who are just honest, good brothers and sisters who just want to earn a living and da-da-da-da-da, but you're a ward of the state. You have a sworn thing about an institution that was based on slave catchers. We're not going to get rid of black cops, and there's not going to just all have black cops in our community. And if they are, they're not going to always just be all good to us. So affecting them where it hurts the most collectively, black or white, coon or cracker, is in the fucking place where it hurts the most, which is the breadbasket, the purse, that bank account, the money. And then at least when you get the spider web somewhat off of you, there's still phases that you got to fight to get back at that spider, which you're going to spin another web. But that is just, once I said, a realistic means in real time that we can do besides just having a debate about what we ain't doing or what our identity ought to be in the midst of when nobody else gives a fuck about what your identity is. They just hate your ass. While you're confused, they're not confused about hating you. You know what I'm saying? Why we have an identity crisis. Other people are already ensuring 3 or 4 generations ahead an economic plan, a foundation, and making provisions for the future of their people. Because it's funny, we're all in a race, and it's funny because a race sounds like a race, almost like a competition. Not saying that's what it means, being euphemistic, but it's pertinent to the point. And in a race, if the race was a competition, God damn it, we got a lot of catching up to do. So we got to wake up or die in our sleep. We're killing each other. They're killing each other. We're at war internally and externally. 1, from the nigger mentality. 2, for the cracker mentality and institutional racism and structural white supremacy. We have divisions in our communities amongst ourselves, our women. I mean, it's a lot. Sociologically speaking, we have to look at this and consider the ominous implications of what's to come out of this if this carries on. We got to deal with the police brutality, but we also got to clean up our own house and our own backyard. We have to weed and seed because we are going to be unfit to address external issues when we are internally destroying and contributing to our own goddamn demise and out-deviling the devil along some lines in doing so. And out-deviling what we consider or call, those of us, the devil in doing so. So I'm not going to talk too much longer. It is getting late. I was up 10 hours. I got to get up 3 in the morning. This is a conversation that, and I said this a couple of times too, man. I would like for you to pay me off and that's coming. You know, a lot of brothers or sisters out there are busy or covering or doing other things, taking care of things on the ground. You know what I'm saying? But to be able to talk about the subject, institutional white supremacy, interpersonal white supremacy, talking about things pertinent, prevalent, that why we have to wake up, that me talking about, or those of us who talk about the urgency of waking up because we are being black, we have been written off and are being off. We have to have that attitude. And if we don't have that, some kind of fight back, bite back, and on some level, some hatred for the hate that they have against us, you are a slave, and we get what you get what the hell you deserve. I can't say we no more because I'm not collectively a product of the same attitude and worldview of a lot of my people. So I can't always say we along some lines. There comes a time where there has to be a fork in the road, God damn it. And when you're at war, it has to come for that. The micro affects the macro. You know what I'm saying? If we don't see the bigger picture and collectively start organizing realistically, instead of getting, a lot of our people are on their own dicks, especially social media scholars and intellects, which are many of them very much so are, but they're missing the point. So they're still asleep and dying in their goddamn sleep. Talk about what you're gonna get into. Math, we need health. We need people that deal with different levels of education, sciences. We need people definitely that deals with history. All of these things are important, but God damn it, we're running short on revolutionaries and people with answer and solution orientation in real time for real problems right now. A lot of us are hiding 10,000 years ago in the past and waiting for something to come help them in the future. But in the present, they're irrelevant or not there in the fight. It ain't the fight in the dog, it's the dog in the fight. And us and our non-participation or lack of collective participation or understanding based on observation in this is a contributing factor to our own demise. You got to open our eyes. Wake up or die in your sleep. That's what I wanted to talk about today to the people. I was passionate. I went a little bit of different few places, and I had to do it. I had a long day too. I got up for work like 3 in the morning. Was up, went hard. Hot day. It's hot down here. I'm in the South now. For those who may not know, God damn it, doing what I'm doing in the construction. That sun is no joke. Came home, didn't even eat yet still, and went here on Baba TV to talk to the people and contribute my time, which is more important at this time than eating or just my personal thing, to for whatever my 2 cents is worth, to whoever appreciates it, I thank you. But that's how I give it up. And that's what my passion is like. You know what I'm saying? It's Teflon, it's bulletproof, and it's definitely real. And you know, I want to do this definitely again, weekly. We got to have a topic, chop it up, even have some other people on here so we can bounce questions and dialogue off of each other for the better edification of the people. But that's what this all boils down to. All right. And in saying that, I want to say, fuck peace, stay dangerous. We are at war. There's a time for war, there's a time for peace. In order to ensure or protect your peace or the peace of your loved ones, stay dangerous by staying informed and empowered with the right knowledge of self and what to do in the times that you're in. I love y'all. Peace, love, and light. Black power. It's your brother SANKOFA. I'm signing off, all right? Peace.